So knowing that the parts wouldn't be it, I tried several different things that worked on other faults in the desk, like resoldering some of the connections. And then somehow I would miraculously like repair one or two. But you know how it is, if you fix something and you don't know how, it's some of the scariest things because you know it could happen again or whatever. And you wouldn't really have fixed it. Turns out, just by accident, the mid EQs do have these little trim ports, and yeah, they have bad connections. That's simply it. Like if you wiggle them a bit, you get all the resonance back. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going through the whole desk. I'm still identifying pots that feel funky and that I will clean. That's a big thing. But then also I have this setup where I would tune the resonance, and let me make a video of how that looks like, because it's actually nice, and I'm getting pretty excited of having a desk full of tuned equalizers, which is awesome. And yeah, that's basically it. That was all it took. No broken parts, no hustling with changing everything in the whole desk. Now, in my defense, what makes this build so tricky and so frustrating or anxious sometimes, that I wouldn't have any schematics. Like, the company still exists. They say that they still manufacture these type of equalizers and preamps and whatnot, so they wouldn't give schematics. And I won't go into my opinion here, but I know that it makes it quite frustrating to service it at home, as I would have to basically figure stuff myself. And as soon as it gets into control voltages, like anything beyond following the signal around, you just have to guess. And I know when the founder was still alive, you could always call and he would just give you a hint. Sadly, this opportunity is not there anymore, and with that not being there anymore, you would have to question, okay, how should I handle this? Should I send in stuff? And then even me being a person who's able to figure most of it, especially when having the technical documents, it's not always easy, but pretty sure we'll make this work. Yeah, and that's it for today. I'll go more into details in the next episodes. Have a great time. Okay, so despite finding the fault in the trim pots, my theory is because the resonance controls, a lot of them feel very weird. And then I opened one or two just to find out there's lots of just like stuff in there. My theory is that these might have gone faulty while still in service, like the trim pots. And then somebody tried to compensate by just spraying the pots. Well, but the problem was somewhere on the board, so it wouldn't make a difference. But now I have all these parts, and you can see I took them out. It's quite a few. And I have already cleaned them. I spared you this mess. But basically you can open them here and then clean it. I do it with alcohol, basically. I clean it. And yeah, I'll be putting all of these back in. See you later. Okay, so here's another important fix. The desk consists of a lot of switches who operate the routing matrix, for example, or other functions. And these switches have different configurations. As you can see, some are very long. Let me show you on the other side. Some are rather short.
Now, the problem with these is one thing, I had to clean all of them with, I used this one. It was a recommendation from the ADT tech. But also, you can see here how they work is they have a spring and then there's this plastic plateau which stops the spring. Sorry for showing you the dirtiest one of them all, but yeah, there's a plastic plateau stopping the spring. Now, sadly, if they get bigger, they have quite strong force working on here, meaning that especially with these ones who are the longest in the desk, quite a huge switches, they switch a lot, and then the plastic plateau would chip off, meaning that this wouldn't be pressed up by the spring. How I fixed it was I would find that some switches by different manufacturers. Now this, I don't know what this is exactly, might be Alps. They use these metal stoppers for the springs, and I couldn't find them like without the switches, so I bought these for kind of cheap, and it might be nice to have spares. I detached this metal thing and then just simply glued it on here. Now this thing shouldn't break. It took me quite some time to get the gluing right, as I had to brush it with sandpaper in order to make the glue stick. So this is my second attempt, but now it's working rather nicely. Hello and welcome from the bench. So I'm servicing the input modules of the ADT desk. It are these plug-in modules that go right here in the top of the channel strip, right where you have the controls for the input as well. Some of these did not work as supposed, and in the first round when checking the inputs, I noticed that there is this SSM 2017 which failed a few times, and then also you can see here I placed them already. There are 4 bipolar caps on this board, and they not only tended to have cold soldering joints, kalte Lötstellen you say in German, where the pins just broke off and they didn't have contact, but also some of them looked deformed and did not work properly. And as you can see, I have these 2 exchanged now. One of them looked bad, and the other one, it's this section right here, which is actually the bus amplifier. So if you route anything to a group on this routing matrix and have it come back in the channel via the bus amplifier, it goes through this. I'm testing it right now and some of these don't work. So I go and look after this cap. And then also this amp right here. But I have an oscilloscope, like a tiny one, but it does the job. And I can check if I get signal or not. So yeah, this is a little insight on how I work in restoring the board. Okay, so this is a big moment for me. Let me show you what happened here. I was working on the input modules now for a while, testing not only the line input, where I had to replace some of the SSM 2017 input ICs, but also the bus matrix, where I checked the switches and then as well the input stage on the input boards. Now every channel works, receives not only the line but also the bus amping, which is quite complex as you have monitor inserts and all kinds of funky stuff going from the input cards. And then also you have routing configurations where via direct you can not only configure direct out but also change the way the bus amp is addressing the insert as the bus stage. Let me show you on the patch bay. The input configuration for each channel is a line in, and then you have a mic in on the back of the console. You would then have the inserts in and out, and then also you have the bus out and a monitor insert, which you could return on the monitor return. Yeah, and now finally I got it all tested. I got it all working. There was a few faults. They were quite tricky to find. Somewhere I'm not sure if I even properly fix it or just... Most of it is context basically, and that's what I'm learning with this one. Older stuff I have experience, which is a bit older, you know, like that. So these guys from the early 80s, late 70s. The faults there are a lot of times actually down to components like capacitors, but with this build I would say maybe 10 to 15% is faulty ICs, as I had to replace some SSM 2017s or any 5534s and a few 5532s, but most of it is missing contacts. I don't know, broken contacts, switches, all that kind of jazz. But yeah, this makes you very happy. This one, I have 32 meters, but only 31 mono channels. One is a blank one here, and then there's the master channel still at ADT. I could fit one of the stereos in a position with a meter and then have all the meters working, but this is for the future. Right now, let's enjoy the little party here, and yeah, see you for the next update.